Hello, true duelists. My name is Craig Fee, and as always, welcome to the new card report. Yeah, the video I make now, here today. Deal with it. The Age of Overlord reveals continue to roll out, and this time they may in fact be going for 2011 me himself, because this time round it's support for Horus. Could I possibly maybe get the chance to play my absolute favorite monster from the old school days of Yugioh bar Hungry Burger? Statistically, the answer to that is no. But there's a chance, damn it, so let's find out. Let's take a look at 6 new cards for the new Horus archetype. Imsety, let's just get it out of the way. If it's an Egyptian name, I apologize for the butchering and the mispronunciations right of the way, but Imsety, Glory of Horus, is a fantastic name to start with because it is glorious. This is a level 8 spellcaster, dark attribute, 3000 attack, having 1800 defense looking dude with 3 effects. The first will let it summon itself from the graveyard once per turn if you control a copy of Pharaonic Sarcophagas. A card will cover in just a bit. It can also send itself and one other card from the hand to the graveyard for you to add a copy of Pharaonic Sarcophagas from your deck to your hand. And then you can also draw a card afterwards, so you can neutral out an advantage. Nice. And lastly, if a card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can send one card on the field to the graveyard. That's not too bad. In hand, it pluses itself. That's not correct. It puts itself into the graveyard, searching out the very card you want to play to get it back out from the graveyard, which means that it can, set itself up to be viable. Not terrible, all on top of the extra draw. And it's a 3k beater to boot. So the only problem is that this is some yummy fucking Ash Blossom bait, isn't it? A hard -1 for trying to get a search is about as yucky as it gets, said by someone who did try to play Blue Eyes in 2016. I don't know how good or bad this is all gonna be, but it sets an interesting start to the archetype. So let's get to the rest of that. And so let's move on to the coolest looking card in the entire fucking set as far as I'm concerned. The Blessing of Horus. Anubis with wings and a bow and arrow. Fuck yeah. This water attribute beast type is also level 8 and has 0 attack and defense. And here's the trend for the deck, it seems, because it also has the same effect to summon itself once per turn from the graveyard if you control Pharaonic Sarcophagas. On field, it's got 2 effects. The first will let it gain 1200 attack and defense for each Horus monster you control, and if a card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, this will let you draw cards up to the number of differently named monsters in your main monster zones. See, I knew that they'd love to have it not be as good as it could be as part of the ongoing anti-Craig Fee bias. The attack buff is neat and makes out 6,000 attack tops if you can get to that, but I'm guessing realistically if you're playing this deck pure, you're looking at a 24 to 36 beater. Could get chunky though, who knows? And then there's the fact that it doesn't really do anything by itself following the trend from the previous one. It's entirely waiting on the opponent to trigger its effects for you. The prize is that there's probably a fat draw or 2 or even 3 if you're playing this, which could be nice if you can summon this after they inevitably ash Imsety. Imsety. My guess, if there is a way to cheat out these bad boys from the graveyard beyond needing to get to the sarcophagus, you're looking at a solid 1 or 2 up, but until then, you're just like me and you're just adoring how fucking cool it looks and the fact that you're probably losing because instead of playing good cards, you want to play the ones that look cool. It's a curse. Happy Vanguard of Horus is a monkey, and I hate it. Can you imagine if that was just the whole thing? All right, let's get real. This one is a level 8 Wind Beast Warrior that has 2400 attack and 1200 defense. Can of course do the 1 summon of the graveyard per turn, provided you've got the Sark on board. And the on-field effect also requires you to have an opponent remove cards from your field by card effect. But this time doing so will let you target 2 cards in either player's grave or banished pile and either add them to the owner's hands or shuffle them into the deck. It's recovery for you and some primo disruption for the opponent. This can let you get back your Imsety, I keep wanting to say that, Imsety, and a card to send with it to get the Sarc, assuming you need a second one. But on field, that's probably not all that needed. I don't know. Much like monkeys are not needed on this earth, is where that joke is meant to be going. I fucking hate monkeys. I don't know what to tell you. If nothing else, you are looking at a rank 8 spam fodder. That's where this whole bit concludes, is fuck monkeys, rank 8 spam's neat though. Let's look at the fourth one. Last up for the monsters revealed is, we're just gonna call it Ages of Horus. I'm not looking to get canceled by trying to read that, you know what I mean? But an Earth attribute winged beast. This one has 2,500 attack and 2,000 defense, and also summons itself from the grave if you've got Sarc on the field. Its on-field effect will make it so that if a card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, it can make your Horus monsters untargetable by the opponents for either attack or card effects. This subtle reference to Hawkman, as he appeared in the Dwayne Johnson movie box office bomb Black Adam, if you can remember that film, does at least look cool and has a real big stick. Plus, he offers targeting protection and effectively saves you in battle, since if they can't attack the monsters you control, they can't really attack you, can they? Shoutouts to the dupe lock. The shame is, you know, it's saving you after you've already lost something here, isn't it? Because in order to activate this effect, the opponent has to get rid of something, which means in some way you have to allow something to be gotten rid of. So it's probably a case of they chose to get rid of something that's better than this, that allow you to practically that will allow you to proc this card's effect. You know what I'm saying? Still, this card that's been shooed in by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's eyebrows marketing team here has had enough time in the spotlight, so let's take a look at the damn sarcophagus that all 4 of these monsters want on your field. Pharaonic Sarcophagus is a continuous spell that will make your Horus monsters indestructible by card effect unless it is targeted to destruction. So I suppose Dwayne's man just got stronger, didn't he? It will also allow you to send the opponent's monster your Horus monster battles to the grave at the start of the damage step once per turn, meaning at least once in your turn you're going to get a neat little Catastor-esque effect from your Horusian? No shot they could be called a Horusian. Your Horus monsters, one of them will be a Catastor once per turn. And more notably is that for the first time in the game, I think, there is a limit of 4 times per turn on a card. This one allowing you to send a card from your hand to the grave to send a Horus monster from your deck to the graveyard. It reminds me a little bit of the ideal, activating Dragon Ravine and pitching a ruler to send a ruler. That's presumably the desired effect here. It does fully set up the deck, if you want to be real technical about it, allowing you to summon out these Horus monsters by putting them in the grave for you, just so long as you can maintain some amount of hand advantage. I was hoping that it would change an opponent's card effect once per turn to become like bounce an opponent's monster or send a monster to the graveyard or something to like mandatory trigger your monster effects, but as it stands, Quad Foolish is hardly a bad thing as long as you can pitch, other Horus cards or general plus advantagey sorts of cards. And an minor army, a single Catastor to make up for the otherwise lackluster attack stats is cute. It could be cooler if your Horuses, when attacking, could be Catastors, but whatever. It's congrats to this card, ultimately, for falling onto the better side of sarcophagus cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Not quite as good as Gold Sarc was in its debut, but it's a hell of a lot better than the first, second, and third sarcophagus cards. You had a profoundly low bar to clear, but you managed to clear it. And last revealed for this series of cards is Canopic Protector. Might have said that wrong, whatever. This is a continuous trap that, while on the field, can once per chain summon out a Horus monster from your hand or graveyard, but you can't summon a monster with the same name by this effect for the rest of the turn. And just for some icing on the cake, if this card is sent to the grave from the hand or field, you can set it onto the field, but it will be banished when it leaves. That is a once per turn effect, but goddamn, that first one's once per chain. So, firstly, my god, that's a dope art. Could you imagine if this was available in Ultimate Rare? That would be fucking gorgeous. I wish. Instead, it's going to be a goddamn peasant rare. Now that's tragic. And, you know, moving on to the actual card, like it's decent. It does get out your monsters and can set itself if you were to send it with Imsety or the opponent's uses like Nightmare Phoenix on it or whatever. The other neat thing is that this does work with the older Horus monsters as well in certain capacities. It can revive Horus the Black Flame Dragon level 6, which can get you to level 8 if it can destroy a monster by battle, which, yeah, it can be stopped in like a multitude of ways, but if you do get to Horus level 8, it's Dragon Naturia Beast, but with 3,000 attack, which is, you know, better because it's a dragon. Don't believe me? It's Yugioh. You're wrong if you disagree with that. But it is an in-theme super Call of the Haunted otherwise, even if you opt not to play Horus level 6 and 8. So it's not terrible. So it's decent. It seems decent. It's a way to swarm. And that's all we've seen thus far. Notably, there's 4 attributes covered here, and all that's lacking are fire and light. Fire, it would be safe to assume, is intended to be Horus the Black Flame Dragon level 8, although I also wouldn't be shocked if we got a separate random fire one as well at some point in the future. Depends on how far they go on the, you know, old level Horus monsters. Regardless, the light one is almost inevitable and potentially good, because light cards, they have a tendency to be decent things. Overall, it's pretty much just a safe bet we're going to get at least one more self-summoning with the pharaonic sarcophagus on the field, level 8. Although it stands that if you don't have the sarcophagus, you're pretty well fucked. There are no normal summons whatsoever for this deck, so I guess if you're playing it pure, you're just like shoving in an invoked monster, or, you know, the engine, because 6 years running, baby, it's time, let's keep normal summoning that boy out. But really, the deck is far from exceptional by itself at first glance. It relies on a continuous spell that only has one searcher, and all of the monsters rely on the opponent's card effects for you to be able to do anything. And while there are some strong effects, none of them get an authentic "Auga" out of me. You know what I'm saying? That's a normal human sentence. We've got removal, we've got variable draws, we have Transmigration Prophecy if it was a monkey, and targeting protection. I don't think this is unplayable by any means, but if it's going to be played, it's probably going to be more so as an engine. Again, if you can get out that sarcophagus and you don't mind the hand fodder that you have to put into it, you've got 4 self-summoning level 8s, which, even if you only play 3 of them, you can then make, you know, Giant Trainer, the coach, to draw 3 cards. What are you drawing? More level 8s that you want in the grave? I don't fucking know. I'm just saying this is probably a better engine at current than deck, but that might change with new cards. Who knows? All I know is that they've given me a way to try and desperately cope level pray to Horus Almighty to make Black Flame Dragon level 8 playable, and that's a blessing to me, damn it. Get it? It's like a double entendre, because this is blessing and the other one I liked was blessing. I'm a gamer. And so, now that the cards are known, the sponsor shall be shown. Thanks to the team at LAFD for continuing to sponsor my channel and giving me a way to give you a lovely discount on the LAFD magnetic display. Seen here! Yeah, look at that. I got one on the corner of the desk now. Very pretty. My burgers are still in the mail. This showed up faster. Kudos to the team. But until then, look at those. There it is. Sits beautifully. Presents the cards. Is not being glared by the lights that are just off camera. Very nice product. I do support 100%. Great way to showcase your favorite cards, be it a series of Horus-themed cards or tokens from a dragon deck you bought 7 years ago. Whatever you're feeling. Go ahead and use my promo code to get yourself 15% off, and you can have it apply automatically by clicking the link in the description. Thank you to LIFD for the support as always, and more importantly, thank you for watching. So that wraps it up for this new card report. Just covering some of the new cards in this one. We'll have other ones out this week. We'll see what order I put this in, and we'll have the update on Friday as always. And until then, I've been your host, Craig Fee. And make sure you subscribe to Yugioh Strats to impress your smoking Italian wife, and so you too can be a true duelist. Baba Booey. Hello true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and as always, what the fuck is going on here?